We're waiting here. Come on. Okay. Yep, we're good. It's connected. Let's see if we've got video coming in. Okay. Yes, we are good. Okay. Okay, folks, we are good on the U-boobs. Let me exit out of that. We're going to come over here and grab. Let's make sure our stream title is correct. News at noon. It's getting wild. Hey, Breast, how are you today? Hey, folks, what we're going to do here. I've almost got our locals. FYI, for people that would want to join a membership through um, Rumble and be able to get access to the Discord link too. I've almost got our locals account fixed up, but it connects to our Rumble page, and you all can go there and get the link for our Discord. And we are getting close here to getting everything set up. I'm going to share a page. I'm going to share our coffee club page. And remember, folks, when you join Coffee Club, when you join Coffee Club, go to the post tab. I'm going to go ahead and show you all this over here too. Just a minute. I'm going to, for the new people that's coming over. When you go to Coffee Club a second, let me get logged in over here just a second, folks. Hey, Jay Moore. I'm going to, she joined the wrong one. Let me send that to Jay Moore. All right. Okay, we wanted to make sure that she's all good here. Wow. But what you're going to do when you join, it's going to come to a page that looks like this. You're going to come to a page that looks like this, and there'll be a membership up here. You join as a member. Do not become a monthly thing over here. That's just a coffee. You got to come down to it says become a member, or you can go to the membership thing, and then you will find the post tab. It says post. It's up there at the top middle of the screen, and you will come to the second page, and you will find. Okay, it's on the third page now. I need to just no, it's on the second page. I need to just make a new one. But you will find this. Discord. That is the Discord link. Click on that link and it will take you to the Discord once you become a member. So you can get instant alerts. You can get access to our like I said, our Discord. And this page that you're seeing right here, this right here that you're seeing, this one that I'm scrolling up and down on, you can get access to that too. And you can flip in there, and it's the stream live chat. And everybody is welcome. We encourage it to post news in YouTube chat, in Discord, and if you want to post it in this channel that you can see on screen right now, don't post no links, no pictures, and just type it out. And make sure it's verified, though. Yeah, right now, this channel is not able to have memberships like the old one did. And we're working towards being able to, for you all to be able to become members on this channel and get access to Discord again through YouTube. But as of right now, the only way to get access to our Discord is through Buy Me a Coffee Club, which is that link right there in chat that's pinned. Okay, let's get into some news, folks. What do you say about that? Canada is threatening to cutting off electricity to critical minerals to the U.S., including high-grade nickel and uranium, if the Canada-U.S. trade war worsens, which it's going to worsen, folks. Canada supplies power to 1.5 million American homes and businesses. You heard that right. 1.5 million American homes and businesses. And if Canada cuts this off, it is going to put absolutely enormous strain on our power grid, because we're going to have to generate this power somehow, some way, in some form or fashion. We're going to have to generate this power. And our power grid is already about maxed out. We're straining it. And we went a big dive the other day into the grid and how most of it is out of date. It's at the end of its lifespan. It was built back in the 50s and 60s. But we are doing upgrades. But, folks, our grid is fragile. It's out of date. And they're not updating it to the speed that they need it to update. It's just like they know that it's going to collapse, and they're not worried about dumping money into it. It's so strange. But it's almost like they know that something's going to happen to it, and so they're just not dumping the money they should be into it. They're not concerned. Same way with our roadways and stuff. I don't know if you all noticed, though, but our roadways and bridges, I'll do a little video on that on Rumble here in a little bit. But our bridges are in terribly disrepair. Just terrible disrepair. Let me tell you something. I know everybody's got a bridge in town. or out in the country. Go to that bridge, park, walk underneath of it, and it will amaze you. We've got a bridge here on 25W between London and Corbin here. And that bridge, underneath of it, if everybody knew what it looked like, the pillars and the beams, they wouldn't drive over top of it. Now there's an old metal bridge right beside of it for the old 25W. This is the concrete one is the new one. And the old metal bridge is in better shape than this concrete bridge is. Imagine that. But it's terrible. I fish underneath of it sometimes, and it scares me to be even underneath of that bridge. It scares me to be even underneath of that bridge. Okay, now the Treasury is talking about it's going to tap into $1 trillion of cash for bond buybacks. Yes, you heard that right. So we was doing $2 billion in buybacks, and a couple days ago they announced that they was going to double it to $4 billion, and now we're at $1 trillion. And the jump from $2 billion to $4 billion in the bond market, when that was announced, the bonds went down for about 2 days, and then they shot up higher than they was before it was announced. Ducks, make sure you're live because the audio is good with me. It's perfect here. Reporter, you described this as an economic D-Day, but a D-Day wasn't a threat of invasion. And the U.S. didn't give a timeline to Germany. Why not impose the sanctions today? Besides, why would I want to blow up the global financial system? That's what I'm telling you. That's what they wanting to do. They're wanting to end the dollar. Everything has to be digital. And if you look into what all is happening right now, everything, it makes sense that we've got to be on this new digital system by 2030, they're saying. And most of this has to be done during the Trump administration. Take that information as you wish. Looks like CNN is having issues. Look at this on the screen right here. CNN and CNN International are experiencing signal output issues. Sounds like they have had some cyber issues. Interesting that DirecTV and YouTube TV are seeing similar dramatic spikes on down detector. Yep, we've had some cyber attacks, folks. Cyber attacks. Look at that. DirecTV has had issues. Claudia has had issues. CNN, YouTube TV. Let's check out down detector a second. Down detector. Come on, down detector. Why are you taking so long to load, down detector? Interesting. Down detector's having issues, look like. Down detector. What's going on, folks? That's working fine on this letter computer. Interesting. Huh. Frontier Communications is having big issues. I don't know why it's not letting me load it on that computer. Tourist is having issues. Microsoft 365 is having issues, but Frontier Communications is having big issues. Yeah, there's a lot of people having issues, folks. CNN, Amazon Web Services, Wow is having major issues. Mail.com, Google Analytics is having big issues. US Bank, Capital One, Canvas Infrastructure, Clover, Bank of America. Yeah, there's a lot of people having big issues. DigitalOcean, Microsoft, Workday, Rockstar Games. Now will you load, sir? I don't know why it's not letting me into Down Detector. Yeah, Retro, I'm on Down Detector. I'm under computer, but the streaming computer is not letting me get onto it. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I've got some stuff in my profile that I shared. Now, Reno, Nevada is having big issues with that fire. I don't know if it's any more information since last night that I saw on containment, but there was 42,000 people ordered to evacuate last night. Now, looks like Melania and Trump had some tension at the car race the other day. Fox News, if you go in here and look at this right here a second, well, I'm not going to show it here because it may be something in there. I've got it somewhere here. Maybe this is it. Yeah, person to camera operator. I need the cameras off the president right now. This person came over here.
Turn the cameras off of the presidential suite, and we'll be with you in a moment.
And ordered the cameras.
Turn the cameras
for the entire network. Fox, CNN,
I understand that. We've asked you to turn the cameras off of the presidential suite, and we'll be with you in a moment.
Now, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So, but yeah, I find that interesting. If you watch this right here. She looks very aggravated with him. Yeah, she looks very aggravated. This is kind of interesting. July 13th, the Trump administration signed a 5-year deal with private prison company GEO Group to operate ICE detention centers. On July 16th, a couple of days later, through July 31st, the GEO Group donated $1.4 million to Trump's super PAC. Now, I find this very interesting. This is some of the key U.S. demands. Um, the U.S. is wanting veto over strategic infrastructure partnership. Canada must submit to major foreign investments in infrastructure, ports, telecom, energy, pipelines, power grids to a joint U.S. Canada review board, giving the United States functional veto power over foreign investment in Canada. I find that interesting. Now, why are we wanting to do that? Um, Dismantling agricultural safeguards. The U.S. demands removal of Canada's supply management system for dairy, egg, poultry sectors, and automatic adoption of U.S. chemical and pesticide standards. Um, Preempted trade restrictions on non U.S. nations. Canada must align with U.S. sanctions and export controls and import tariffs on third country nations, giving up the right to set independent foreign trade policy. B- Binding military and Arctic mandates. China must meet specific defense spending benchmarks tied to purchasing U.S. made military hardware for Arctic surveillance and NORAD upgrades. Pharmaceutical patent extensions. U.S. demands to extend data periods for foreign pharmaceutical firms, delaying generic drug access to Canada. Delaying generic drug access to Canada and driving up private healthcare costs. That just that veto of the strategic infrastructure partnerships is just wild. This is just something that you would do after a war. Just JD Vance claims young people can afford homes again. Folks, we can't even afford to eat. Here's Fox News saying
taking effect at midnight. The Trump
about the
administration says
trade
Canada
um about the trade war with Canada.
walked away from a deal that would have cut tariff trade talks between the U.S. and Canada collapsing overnight. A 50% tariff on $20 billion worth of Canadian goods taking effect at midnight. The Trump administration says Canada walked away from a deal that would have cut tariffs on steel, aluminum, autos, and lumber. Now, Canada is promising to hit back dollar for dollar, raising the stakes in a major fight with one of America's closest trading partners. Here to tell us more is U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Jameson Greer. Ambassador, thanks for joining us. This is kind of big news. So what do you expect to happen from here? Do you think trade talks will get back on track?
But yep, there you go, folks. This beef that Trump announced that he was going to be importing. It's not actual ground beef. It's the scraps. It's raw boneless scraps that processors blend with fattier cuts to make the final ground beef. Basically, this is their garbage that he is buying to mix into U.S. beef. It's the stuff that they shovel up off the floor. Is exactly what it is. It's the scraps. It's the scraps. McDonald's U.S. alone bought 324 metric tons of beef in 2023. Wendy's system used 110 to 130 metric tons. Trump, here you go. Let's let
Trump announced up to 300,000 metric tons of ground beef imports over 90 days at 25% below market price with no out-of-quota tariffs. McDonald's U.S. alone bought approximately 324,000 metric tons of beef in 2023, approximately 80,000 in 90 days. Wendy's system uses approximately 110,000–130,000 metric tons yearly, approximately 30,000 in 90 days. Burger King sales in units are comparable to Wendy's, so similar volume. Collectively the three use roughly 130,000–150,000 metric tons of beef, mostly for patties, in 90 days. Less than the import volume.
well, it's just a little showing how much that he is important versus how much the fast food chains use. So for 180, this is 188 days, 180 days worth for the fast food restaurants. For basically McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. And it's the scraps, folks. It's the junk that they shovel up off the floor, basically. That just so raw boneless scraps that processors blend with fattier cuts to make the final ground beef. Here you go. ICE, a Border Patrol agent, approached a U.S. citizen as a gas station at Lake Worth, Florida, demanding his ID. And when the U.S. citizen asked why, the agent said, "Because you're an immigrant." It's let my reader read this to you all. This is just weird. Does that guy look like an immigrant? No, he does not look like an immigrant. He looks like a typical U.S. citizen. Why are you? Look here. That ain't no immigrant. Look at him. That's just a typical U.S. citizen. I don't want to print that. Cancel.
Breaking. An ICE Border Patrol agent approached a U.S. citizen at a gas station in Lake Worth, Florida, demanded his ID, and when the U.S. citizen asked why. Ellipsis. The agent said, "Because you're an immigrant." Except that is not how the Constitution works. In the video, the U.S. citizen is standing at a gas station when an agent walks up and says, "Let me see your ID." The man asks a completely reasonable question, "Why?" The agent responds, "Because you're an immigrant." And before the man has even been identified, the agents grab his hands and puts him in handcuffs. People standing around immediately start questioning what is happening, asking the agents how they can arrest someone when they haven't even identified who he is. But the agents ignore them and walk the man to their vehicle. The Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures. The Supreme Court has held that roving Border Patrol agents need reasonable suspicion, based on specific circumstances, to stop someone and question them about immigration status. And apparent ethnicity, by itself, is not enough. So, what was the actual legal basis for demanding this man show his ID? Because if the answer is literally, because you're an immigrant, that should piss off every American. You should not have to prove you're a U.S. citizen before the government decides it has the right to put you in handcuffs. And this is just another reminder that constitutional rights don't mean anything if federal agents can violate them, over and over again, with no accountability.
We are losing our rights faster than you can blink your eyes. Now, this was completely uncalled for. Something's going to have to stop with this stuff, because it's going too far. They're going too far with this. And I think everybody in this channel right now would agree that this is going too far. There's got to be a stop to it at some point here. Yep, this is going too far. A reporter has asked Hegstaff a question. And the question was, do you think it's a possibility that Iran, North Korea, and other forces such as China will join forces and retaliate? Hegstaff says, unfortunately, because of policies of a previous administration, we drove these countries together. Folks, no. It's what's going on right now is driving these countries together and basically pissing them off at us. Sorry about my language. They didn't start announcing defense packs. Oh, they had some, but Iran and the whole Middle East is working on defense packs. We've got the whole Middle East peed off at us. Now, as you can go down through here and look, everybody down through here is just saying the opposite. Hegstaff has no understanding of geopolitics. Trump's caused the poliation of the world order. But yep, it's the war over there right now is what is driving North Korea, Iran, China, and Russia closer together. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing that they don't think that what we're doing right now is causing the issues. Now, we're getting close to China and Russia doing what I've been talking about. Russia's going to attack Europe. China is going to attack the countries over there in Pacific. Taiwan is the prize. Now, North Korea is going to join in and help China over there. And North Korea will get South Korea. That's the plan. There was a paper that got leaked a year or so ago that detailed all this out. And the date on it was for the end of this year, beginning of next, well, in the spring of next year. Late 2026, early 2027 is when they're going to make their moves. I'll have to go and get this from Lee. He's got the paper. He done a big he done a show on it and showed it to everybody. Jennifer Zhang is the one that broke the story. And I more than likely can go get that video. And we will show it over here on Rumble. Now, I was going to go and set up today and sell some vegetables, but I'm not going to have time. I'll have to wait until tomorrow to do that. Or this coming, well, I'll have to do it tomorrow. Now, this is very interesting. Here's thought for experiment. Several analysts keep returning to if a president actually wanted to dismantle America's superpower status, what would they be doing differently from what is going on right now? Now, I'm going to play this. Y'all take it however you want to take it. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just putting out what is being said right now. And I repeat, I am not bashing anybody. I wish the best for him. But I'm just repeating what is being said right now. And I repeat, I am not against or bashing anybody. Because some people get their panties in a wad with me talking about this.
Here is a thought experiment that several analysts keep returning to. If a president actually wanted to dismantle American superpower status, what would he be doing differently from what Trump is doing right now? Consider the record. He has feuded with NATO and cast doubt on the alliance guarantee that anchored Western security for 70 years. He has slapped tariffs on the EU and individual European allies, and this week launched a 50% trade war against Canada, America's closest partner. He has pressured South Korea and Japan over troop costs while courting their adversaries. Gulf states, battered by the Iran war, now question the American security umbrella so openly that Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan just signed their own mutual defense pact. Sanctions and Hormuz chaos are pushing oil trade toward the yuan, eroding the dollar's reserve roll while national debt passes $40 trillion. And through it all, he speaks warmly of Putin and Kim Jong-un while insulting the billion people living under Allied flags. Superpower status rests on three pillars: alliances, the dollar, and credibility. All three are being sought at simultaneously. So what explains it? Option A: sheer ignorance, a government that simply does not understand how the world works. Option B: revenge, a man settling scores with an establishment he believes wronged him. Option C: outside pressure, someone else's interests being served. None of these options is comforting. And the pattern remains the same whichever one you pick.
So, yeah. Y'all can take that with how you wish. I'm just putting it out there. Alright, let's move on here. We're going to go to repost. I've got some stuff that I've been. But like I said, the Treasury, we went from 4 billion to 1 trillion pretty quickly. Treasury may tap up to $1 trillion in cash for bond buybacks. U.S. Treasury scraps rule requiring anomalous shell companies to disclose their true owners. Now, I find this very, very interesting. What this is going to do is let foreigners and foreign companies buy companies over here and been registered underneath anonymous shell companies. Why are we deleting current records? Make that make sense. Why are we deleting current records? Why would we want to delete current records? Now, somebody's trying to hide something, folks. And I'm not for sure who it is. But somebody is bound and determined to hide something. And who is it? And what are they trying to hide? Is my question. And why? What and why are they trying to hide? San Francisco's 49ers and owner and CEO John, aka Jed, York, was arrested in Ohio over the weekend and pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct, possession criminal tools. York was originally charged with engaging in prostitution. Now, this is interesting. They have dismantled a jamming device in the middle of a NATO capital in Bulgaria. Listen to this.
Right in the middle of a NATO capital, powerful GPS jamming device discovered in Sofia. In Sofia, Bulgarian security authorities have located and neutralized an extraordinarily powerful GPS jamming device. According to the Bulgarian Domestic Intelligence Service DANS, the device was found on August 21 in a heavily guarded complex in the Dragulevci district of the city. The operation involved not only DANS but also the Communications Regulatory Authority and the Sofia Police. The scale is remarkable. The transmitter disrupted GPS frequencies across large parts of Sofia, including Sofia Airport, aircraft over the capital, as well as areas of the television infrastructure. The Bulgarian transport minister confirmed that GPS signals were indeed impaired. However, flight safety was not jeopardized, as aircraft could switch to conventional ground-based navigation systems in the event of satellite signal failure. The investigators subsequently also searched another heavily secured building complex in the border town of Kapitan Andreevo. According to Bulgaria's state broadcaster BNT, they are examining whether similar technology was present there. It is still unclear how long the jamming device had been in operation and exactly what it was used for. A Bulgarian aviation expert considers the device potentially military technology due to its power. He estimates the value of such an installation at a six-figure amount. However, this is not yet an official assessment from the investigators. The key questions now are: Who owned this facility? Where did it come from? Why was it located right in the middle of Sofia, and why was it powerful enough to disrupt GPS reception for aircraft over a European capital? Were those ominous, foreign powers, involved again, by any chance? Hashtag Sofia, hashtag Bulgarian, hashtag GPS jamming, hashtag
Stop.
NATO.
Very interesting, and I guarantee I'll lay money on it that it is something Russia had cooked up with somebody through the Russian FSB. Guarantee it, and it will come out eventually that it was the Russians. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Let's move on here. Finland's Prime Minister warns the threat of Russian sabotage has increased. He says he is more pessimistic after receiving updated intelligence assessments warning Russia is trying to escalate hybrid activity against Finland and Europe. Yeah. Told y'all. I hate being right. I just, I hate being right. Hate it. Because me being right about this stuff, it's not going to end up good. But the writing is on the wall, folks. The writing is on the wall. And the West is not prepared for what's coming with China. China is one worries me. Russia doesn't worry me too much. Now listen to this. This is a big step.
UK PM Andy Burnham has approved the transfer of Storm Shadow technology to Ukraine. President Zelensky has now asked that we share our Storm Shadow technology so that Ukraine can build these capabilities themselves. I am pleased to confirm today that I have approved that request, and that British and French industry, and we thank President Macron and his colleagues too, will now work with Ukraine to take this capability forward. I am also asking British industry to get behind Project Freya to provide a lower-cost alternative to US Patriot systems for intercepting ballistic missiles.
There you go. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome news. Absolutely just awesome news. I love it. Now here's a video of it last night. The drone attack on the Ozon Logistics Hub. This is major. It's the hub of Taikum Industrial Park, Dagestan. The complex covers 130,000 square meters. It's one of Russia's largest online marketplaces, similar to the Wildberries, with a nationwide network of warehouses and sorting centers. This place is massive, folks. As you can see in that video, it just stretches on forever down through there. Look how big that thing is. It's just massive. Massive, massive building. And let's see here if I can pull this up on Google Earth. We want the OZON. Address. Let's see here. This is the. Let's go to. We want this. And let's go to Google. Google Maps. Why is nothing loading for me on this computer? What's I don't understand what's going on. So I guess I'm not going to show you all this. For some reason, this computer is not wanting to load anything. And I really don't understand why. What I have, I can reload and it works fine. So I kind of don't understand what's going on with that. So I can load Discord. I think certain things with Google's having issues, folks. Because I can come in here and load Rumble. I just can't go in here and get Google Maps. It's not working. I think Google's having issues. Like I said right here, I can load everything else. Google Map, down detector, nothing. But I can come in here and click Twitter. Well, Discord. Discord loads just fine. Rumble loads just fine. So I don't know. I don't know. Don't understand. I don't know. So weird. But anyway, there is that. Let me go back to. I'm going to have to reload this in. We want that. Okay. Russia's spokesman. This is, what's his name? Dmitry, whatever. He says,
these facilities.
listen to this, folks.
Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and consistently adding fuel to the fire and methodically and consistently plotting to prevent a peaceful settlement process. That is precisely what Great Britain is doing. Our armed forces are carrying out the necessary work and gathering the relevant data to identify the production sites for such missiles and other military equipment, and are taking measures to destroy these facilities. Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and consistently adding fuel to the fire and methodically and consistently plotting to prevent a peaceful settlement process. That is precisely what Great Britain is doing. Our armed forces are carrying out the necessary work and gathering the relevant data to identify the production sites for such missiles and other military equipment, and are taking measures to destroy these facilities. Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and consistently adding fuel to the fire and methodically and consistently plotting to prevent a peaceful settlement process. That is precisely what Great Britain is doing.
Oh, that's what
Our
Russia's
armed
doing.
forces are carrying out the necessary work and gathering the relevant data to identify the production sites for such missiles and other military equipment, and are taking measures to destroy these facilities. Britain is participating in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and consistently adding fuel to the fire and methodically and consistently plotting.
But yep, Russia says that Britain is precipitating in the war on the side of Kyiv. Folks, Russia is laying the groundwork so they have an excuse to attack NATO. They're going to go after the Baltics. It's just a matter of time. Russia's losing the war in Ukraine massively. And Russia wants to say that NATO defeated them, not Ukraine, because that would make them a laughingstock if Ukraine defeats Russia, like they're doing, and they're doing it very well. But they feel like they need to say that NATO defeated them. So that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to attack the Baltics. That way they can say NATO defeated them. Ontario Premier Doug Ford threatening to cut off electricity to 1.5 million Americans. 1.5 million homes and businesses. He says, I'll cut them off. Everything's on the table, and I'll do whatever it takes. Following Trump's 50% tariffs on Canada. Armenians. Now listen to this.
Armenia's president has announced the country does not want to be part of the Russian NATO alternative CSTO anymore and wants to start the process of moving toward the European Union. Wow.
Yep. Armenia says they don't want to be part of a Russian NATO alternative, SISTO, and wants to start the process of moving towards the EU. Ukraine held a parade for its Independence Day, and it's not their typical parade, folks. This is the world's first all-unmanned systems display. They have rolled dozens of combat robots down the road while drone boats sailed the Dnipro and UAVs flew overhead. You can see the video right there of all of them unmanned systems. Now that's just amazing. This is the new warfare. Yep, there is still consumer demand there, Retro. But the consumer demand that is going on right now is basic stuff, and they don't have a choice. You have to buy groceries. Have to. We've got, look at that, flying. Look on the top left right there at the choppers. Did you all see them? Did y'all see the helicopters? Right there. See them? Blackhawks. Blackhawks. I heard them. But yeah, this is the new version of warfare is drones, folks. That's where this is going. And we just dismantled an entire drone platoon in Europe on a back to the basics approach. Back to the basics isn't going to win this war. Back to the basics is sitting ducks for drones, basically. We're going to put the folks back in the trenches, and they're going to be sitting ducks for drones. Your administration over here just put a lot more of our troops' lives in danger because we want back to the basics. Because Hegstef doesn't like Ukraine, and Ukraine was helping us on this drone unit. Now, this is interesting here, what Lushenko has said.
We have to be on the front line together with you. Lukashenko acknowledges Belarus's involvement in the war. During a meeting with a Russian governor, the dictator said that Belarus is becoming increasingly drawn into the confrontation on Russia's side and that the country's importance is growing because of the events unfolding around it. Fortunately or unfortunately, our capabilities in relation to Russia have increased recently. Today, we have to be on the front line together with you. There's no getting away from it. Belarus's importance is growing because of the events taking place around us, Lukashenko said. And yet, just this morning, he congratulated Ukrainians on Independence Day and spoke about the friendly and close ties between the two nations.
Now, there's Lushenko acknowledging Belarus's involvement in the war and says that they need to be on the front line together with Russia. Yep. 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 It's just It's crazy, folks. Just absolutely crazy. All right. Well, the New York Buffalo International Airport ran out of fuel and was unable to refuel aircraft last night. Are we starting to see shortages of aircraft fuel? Looks like it. Now, this airport is not connected to a pipeline, so you can take that as you wish, and it's trucked in. So maybe they had issues with some trucks. But it ran out of fuel nevertheless. And from what the CEOs of these oil companies and refinery companies are saying, um, we're getting low on fuel, and all this is going to hit around midterms. All of it's going to hit around midterms, they're saying. Now, this is interesting. JBS is the world's biggest meat producer, but this is a rendering an edible byproduct, pet food fertilizer, not for human. But it's still pet food, folks. Look at this. This is what they're putting in pet food. This is what they're putting in your pet food. Just nastiness. I wouldn't want my pet eating this. Would you? Want your pet eating this? Inedible byproducts, pet food, fertilizer, not for human at JBS Louisville plant. I wouldn't want my pets eating that. Now, this it's had 600 odor complaints since 2019. The Louisville plant. This is in Louisville, Kentucky. It's just, yeah, it's disgusting. Now, I don't want my pet eating that. So watch out what you're buying pet food wise. I'll give you all a video of this. A link to this. So watch out what you're feeding your pets. Do some research into what pet foods that they're making with this, and quit buying it. There is a link, folks. Yeah, I'm just I'm throwing this out there. This is YouTube. I'm not saying yes or no. And it could be. This could be what we're going to be buying to mix in with our stuff. Very fun. It's for scraps to begin with. It very well could be. Quit buying your meat from big box stores. Quit. Don't buy it from big box stores. Go to your local butcher and buy it locally. Now you don't have to become vegan. Buy it locally. Every city, every town has a local butcher that has local meat. And the meat that you buy locally will be a totally different color than what you buy at the stores. It'll be a deep, dark red with little white pieces in it. And it will taste so much better. This stuff that's in these big box stores have been sitting on shelves. They pump it full of color and of dye to make it look pretty. And it's ruined to begin with. They're pumping it full of food coloring to keep it that nice pretty red. And they put what they call pink slime in it as fillers. Quit buying this stuff from Walmart. Quit buying it from Kroger. Quit buying it from Save-A-Lot, Aldi's, wherever. Any place that is a chain. And go to, you can do a quick Google search and type in local meat shops near me. And get it local. That supports your local farmers. Too. Buy it locally. And if you are in the London, Corbin area, we have a local one called C&P. It's right up next to the exit on 39. I think 39 up here. C&P Quality Meats. Go buy it from them if you're local to where I'm at. London, Corbin, Warrensburg, area in here. But do a quick Google search and find your local meat shops that source it from locally. Your health will improve. It will taste better. Now, these big box stores, packs of ground beef, hamburger, they have been tested before and they have DNA of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cows in them. They just put them all in a big thing and grind them. The scraps, basically. And it has been tested to have human you know what in it. So buy it locally. Support your local farmers. They need help right now because of this imported stuff that we're importing in is really hurting the farmers right now, causing beef prices to fall. When then they're not even making enough right now to survive hardly because of input cost. Feed is outrageous, folks. I bought this last bunch of chicken feed and it has went up about 15 or 20% from the last bunch I bought. We are having major issues with crops. And it's only going to increase our issues are. And if Russia, well, when Russia attacks the Baltics here, the Baltics corridor is the last source of fertilizer we have coming to the U.S. Once that is cut off, we're done. People don't understand the gratitude of this. Once Russia cuts us off from the fertilizer we are getting through the Baltic Sea right now, expect food prices to skyrocket. Expect your feed for your animals to skyrocket. We are already going to see a very, very bad harvest over here. Because the farmers wasn't able to secure enough fertilizer this year. Buy it locally. Go to your local farmer's market. Buy your vegetables and stuff from them. Buy your meat local. Start canning. Learn how to can. Now, the Department of Homeland Security actually investigated a possible human trafficking of kids who cleaned the slaughterhouses for JBS. And this is what I was talking from that video I showed you, was JBS. That's very interesting. Federal investigators are looking into whether, this was in 2023, federal investigators looked into whether 50 children, some as long as 13, who was legally employed cleaning Midwestern slaughterhouses were victims of label trafficking. 3 officials from the Department of Homeland Security told NBC News. They interviewed the children who worked cleaning a JBS food butcher house in Grand Island, Nebraska, officials say in a statement. Spokesman for Immigration Customs Enforcement Division of DHS said due to an ongoing investigation, they cannot comment at this time and refer questions to the U.S. Labor Department. So they was using child labor to clean these slaughterhouses. JBS was. And that's that link I put in there. That is a JBS facility. Now this is interesting. Now listen to this. Flock lied and got caught.
The ACLU documents a sustained pattern. Flock's CISO told the Oshkosh City Council its system did not create movement heat maps. The council approved the contract, and the next morning the city learned the statement was false and revoked the contract within 1 day, the shortest approval to cancellation window on record. Flock then called its own caught lie, one small misconception. The CEO admitted after denying federal contracts that Flock had undisclosed pilot programs with CBP and DHS, saying its public statements inadvertently provided inaccurate information. And the compliance tool Flock sold to block abortion-related searches was circumvented trivially. One Oregon department entered investigation 111 times and 20 times into the search reason field and sailed through. Now, the public-facing claim, technology cannot recognize, identify, or track individuals. Reality, the new system does both, identifying drivers and tracking vehicles by movement patterns alone. Public-facing claim, built for specific, case-based investigations, not for watching people. Reality, 19 of 69 prompts hunt behavioral patterns, 14 require no suspect at all. Public-facing claim, customers own and control their data, no hidden backdoor. Reality, cities keep discovering sharing they never authorized, and the CEO keeps admitting prior statements were inaccurate. Public-facing claim, robust safeguards. Reality, ACLU's assessment of the August 2026 updates is that most changes are PR window dressing, and the evidence mode retention exception could indefinitely preserve everything if it triggers on any searched data rather than case-tied data.
Imagine that. That's interesting, isn't it, folks? That they're creating heat maps to track your every move. Yep, they're going to track your every move. They lied to this city council. We got to go down here and figure out where we was again. Where's we at? Well, I've got one right here. I want to now this is the person that helped create that drone unit that Hexteth has got rid of.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is expected to leave his post by the end of the year, or possibly sooner, after months of reported tension with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Driscoll has served about 18 months and developed a close working relationship with former Army Chief of Staff General Randy George. The two pushed the Army toward greater use of commercial technology and lessons from Ukraine, including integrating commercially available systems more rapidly into military operations. George was abruptly fired by Hegseth in April and has not been replaced by a Senate-confirmed successor. General Christopher Leneve is currently serving as acting Army Chief of Staff. Driscoll's departure would therefore leave both of the Army's top civilian and uniformed leadership positions without Senate-confirmed permanent leaders.
Yep.
The reported split also appears to reflect a broader disagreement over Army transformation. Driscoll had advocated adopting Ukrainian-style approaches to commercial technology and battlefield innovation, while his relationship with Hegseth reportedly deteriorated after Driscoll became involved in efforts to arrange senior-level visits and Army reform discussions. There has been no official confirmation of Driscoll's departure. The Pentagon and Driscoll's representatives declined to comment. Source: WSJ.com/politics/Natio.
Well, there you have it. He was helping us generate this drone unit from Ukrainian with Ukrainian help, and now he's been dismissed, basically. Just a second, folks. I'm trying to do something without making a gum with this glue. Let's see if that holds that. I think that will be good if that holds. Trying to keep having to make brackets. So I'm gluing this head unit into this plastic here, bezel. And I think that will work. So we'll let that sit there and cure. Yep, drones of a new battlefield. How does not they don't like Ukraine. That's the reason why they're doing this. But they're setting us up to fail. By doing what they're doing, they're setting us up to fail, folks. They're setting us up to fail. That's all there is to it. They don't like Ukraine. They hate us. They hate Ukraine. So they're setting us up to fail, basically. Just because they don't like Ukraine. And I don't understand why they don't like Ukraine. It's just, it's amazing. Ukraine has done so much for us. They've helped us so much. I just don't understand why they don't like it like Ukraine. When Ukraine has done so much to help us. They've literally defeated Russia with one hand tied behind their back. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. I just find it, I don't know, so weird. So weird. Why they hate Ukraine so much. It makes literally no sense. Makes no sense. Come on, glue. Dry and hold that right there for me a minute, sir. I'm hurrying, folks. I've got to wait till this dries a second. I guess I can hold it in my lap here while this is drying. Just kind of put some pressure on it right here in my lap. All right, let's go on here. Now, here's a little statement from a farmer.
With today's 2-minute warning. Turns out I might be the last person to weigh in on this decision today that Donald Trump announced on not charging tariffs on imported beef for the next 90 days to get a cheap ground beef supply to the American consumer. Everybody's shocked and disappointed. I'm not. I expected this. I've been studying this guy's pattern. This guy has been working with the elite of the world, the Larry Finks. Go research yourself. The chairman of the World Economic Forum, who plans for me and you not to own this land, not to own those cattle. We as consumers not to have access to animal protein. He's been working on this with these people for a long time. What I'm disappointed in is in the beef state. And by the way, one more issue about that. Donald Trump is leading the largest land grab since the Indian Wars. But you know what? The Indians fought back. We're not even fighting back. We're just continuing to lick the boots and say, hey, tell me, boss, what I do next. That's got to stop now. But in the beef state, the state of Nebraska, where we still pride ourselves in beef, we have 3 of our 5 congressional delegates, 1 in the Senate, 2 in the House, 3 of the 5 who've applauded the president for trying to get cheaper food supplies. Those 3 happen to all be in support of AI data centers, which leads to the largest land grab in the history of this country. And those 3 are the 3 of the 5 which are in campaign mode, not looking out for the best interests of the citizens of the state, but yet looking at where maybe the consumer will give an advantage. We, the consumer, need to speak up. We are tired of being a $50 billion a year industry where we import more agricultural products than we export. We have the resources. Get loud. Be involved.
Yep. Yep. Get loud, folks. Enough is enough of this stuff. Enough is enough. It's time for you all. It's time for everybody to start speaking up. Got to speak up. Gonna have to start speaking up, or they're just gonna keep on walking over top of you. A second. Gotta tape this up. That way it holds itself in here. Yes, second. Till this glue dries. Till this dries, folks. I've glued the crap out of this thing. But yep, we've got to start speaking up. That's all there is to it. They're walking all over top of you. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, folks. Alright, let's move on here. Republican Senator Jim Banks says Trump's legacy is going to be the one who was the president who brought peace to the Middle East. What planet are they living on, folks? Alright, let's get back to this. Here you go. NATO nightmare. And this is what's going to play out.
NATO nightmare. Russia and China could strike at the same time, and the West has no plan for such a scenario. A scenario that until recently was considered almost unthinkable is now being seriously discussed by Western military strategists. Russia attacks a NATO country in Eastern Europe while China simultaneously launches an operation against Taiwan. The U.S. would then have to fight on two fronts at once, and if Washington continues the war in the Middle East, on three. At the same time, as the Atlantic columnist Simon Schuster found, NATO still has no clear plan for such a scenario. Military experts admit that the West has done virtually no preparation for such a possibility. Meanwhile, Russia has ramped up military production and gained extensive experience in modern warfare in Ukraine, including the use of drones. China has more military ships and long-range missiles than the U.S. If Russia and China act in coordination while the US and Europe argue among themselves, the West could lose because it lacks a unified strategy.
Yep. And that's what Russia and China want. They're wanting us to argue in amongst ourselves over here. And they're doing a really good job at it. At keeping us arguing in amongst ourselves with what they're doing. I mean, and you can't say elsewise. Keeping us arguing between NATO nations. Just like what the U.S. is doing with NATO right now. Russia's putting out all this propaganda. And even certain people in our administration right now is buying into this Russian propaganda that is being put out. And that's what Russia and China wants. They want people to buy into this Russian propaganda. And they're doing a daggone good job at getting them to buy into this. A really daggone good job. If you ask me. They're doing a really good job at it. Yep, distractions, folks. Distractions. Alright, now let's go back here because I'm about out of stuff that I have put together for you all. We might be headed for an economic D-Day in North America. Canada could plunge part of the U.S. into darkness, spike gas prices, and drive up food costs if it turns into a full-blown trade war. We don't need Canada. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Canada supplies 63% of U.S. crude imports, 81% of our imported electricity, 79% of imported potash for fertilizer. So we could be fixing to lose 79% of our imported potash. For our fertilizer. It's just amazing. If this escalates, Americans are going to feel it fast, folks.
At President Trump's direction, the United States Treasury has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers.
Yep, we have begun The economic operation against Iran, folks. Let's see what the bond market is doing right now. It's up. Not by much, but it's up. But 30 years down. 10 years up. Gold is up $16 an ounce. Copper is almost at $6.60. That's something really, something to keep an eye on, folks, is the copper. You need to keep an eye on the copper. Because we're going to start seeing major issues because of copper getting so high. Copper is used in everything. Everything. Even down to medicine. Copper is used in everything, y'all. Every single thing. If we start seeing major price, well, we're done. It's the highest price in history right now. Copper is. And it's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. Certain tariffs are awesome, and some tariffs are not. Certain tariffs are awesome, but certain tariffs are not. Especially when you get to really high percentage in tariffs. They're not. And I don't think we should be tariffing our neighbors. That's just my thoughts. I know that China had some tariffs on us. Why is that so loud? I know that China has some tariffs on us, but they didn't kick in until they got to a certain amount imported. And the tariffs on the milk and stuff had never kicked in. They had never kicked in. So it was at zero. We're going to hike Canada auto tariffs to 50%. So you might as well go ahead and think about if you need any parts for your car. Go ahead and get some parts that you might be needing because they're fixing to go up.
Wonder why Hegseth fired senior staffers at Stars and Stripes. It's because of reporting like this. Nearly 6 months after the U.S. Navy evacuated 1,300 family members from Bahrain at the start of the Iran war. Officials are saying the evacuees cannot return for the foreseeable future and should find new homes elsewhere. The evacuation has left families in limbo and forced military officials to improvise solutions for support programs that were never designed to sustain a displacement lasting this long. Some evacuees say they have spent tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket for basic living expenses. Others are sleeping on the floors of temporary housing, while their cars and furniture are stranded in Bahrain or aboard ships unable to leave the region.
Uh, I have been sitting here talking to myself. I am so sorry, folks. I don't know how long I've had the microphone muted for. But anyway, the Gray Fawn says he's old enough to remember gas ration and government cheese. Alaska says, folks, fake inflation has peaked. It hasn't even started. And I agree 100%. You haven't seen shit yet. You haven't seen nothing on inflation. We're going to move towards hyperinflation. Like that, they went from $2 billion in bond buybacks to $4 billion, and now they're talking about tapping into $1 trillion to buy back bonds. And here is the information on it from CNBC. Check that out. The Fed could tap into nearly $1 trillion of Treasury General account to fund bond buybacks. Nobody wants our debt. We're having to buy our own debt back. We're having to buy our own debt. And I do not know why this microphone is so daggone loud. I adjust it, get it to where it needs to be, and then it gets loud again. Yep, the homeless crisis has just really started. But JD Vance says, hang on a minute, let me read this to you. It's right here in my profile. He said last night that young people are able to afford homes again. Folks, we can't even afford to eat. We can't even afford to eat, hardly. And my heater, I'm going to have to order me a switch for it because I just turned the switch and it smoked. Let's see here how this is doing. Looking good, looking good. Looking really good. I like it. It's all sitting in here good now. The glue is starting to dry. Good deal. I am very happy with the way this is turning out here. Very, very happy. This big touch screen is going to be nice. And I can't believe how cheap it was. I really can't. $36 for this touchscreen radio. It has a 7-inch screen on it. And it fits in that. It fits just perfectly into my dash bezel here. I had to do a little customization, but not much. I had to take about a 1/2 inch off of the bezel. But the bezel they sent with the thing. Oh, come on. Why are you not wanting to sit back up, folks? There you go. Sit there for me. Covers what little bit I had to grind off. So, turned out good. Alright, let's go on down through here, see what else we got. Let's see here. We've been live for an hour and 58 minutes. Yeah, we're getting close to our ending.
That was actually an accident. We have to remember, Canada is a state. Sorry, Freudian slip. That was actually an accident.
Yeah, sure, it was an accident. He says Canada is a country that would get invaded by a foreign country if it wasn't for America. RFK Jr. I got my job in the Trump administration because of my interest in kids.
This job, I got into this job initially because of my interest in kids. I got into
The audio's quiet on
this
that.
job initially because of my interest in
Got into this job initially because of my interest in kids. That's interesting. Sorry about my audio being quiet there for a minute. Britain's going to declassify a share of information on the British components of the long-range Scalp cruise missiles, allowing France and Ukraine to move forward with plans for local assembly in Ukraine. Prime Minister Andy says it's expected to announce the decision during his visit to Kyiv tomorrow. And I think he done announced it. Because I think we played a video. And here is a video of a CNN feed that got broken. The media company having technical issues with audio and video. I don't think this was a technical issue. I think we was under, they have done a little test here on cyber warfare. I think a foreign adversary has tested some stuff today, folks. Remember, just the other day, Iran got into 13 states And then they in 13 states water systems, and they also shut a nuclear power plant down in France for 4 days due to a cyber attack. Yep, Alaska hack. I guarantee you it was some kind of hack. Let's see what the comments say. Calling it a technical glitch. CNN channels go dark and major technical outage. A technical glitch across Warner Brothers Discovery knocked out CNN's domestic and international channels off the air starting at 12:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with Down Detector logging hundreds of user reports of video and audio failures. Yeah, I don't think it's a glitch. What is that? Looks like a little cartoon figure. See it? Looks like a cartoon figure, folks. I think somebody was trying to broadcast something over top of the feed there. You all see what I see? See the hand? Let me make this bigger. Y'all see the hand? The hand right here, and then the face, the mouth. I think somebody was trying to broadcast something. Yep, wild stuff. You can see it right there. Sure as the world. Something else down here. Looks like a mailbox. And an at symbol. Ah. NASA has just open sourced the most insane satellite tool and nobody's talking about it. It's called Worldview. It lets you browse the entire planet in full resolution satellite imagery updated within 3 hours of observation. We going to start using that. I'm getting a call. Just a minute, folks. But yeah, I'm going to play around with this a minute. Interesting here. Now, how can we? I want to. Can we make it any more? That was Nug Nug somewhere on them live cameras that we're looking at. Yeah, it's not going to be. I'll have to play around with this so we can't get any clearer images because that's not clear enough. It's too blurry. There's got to be a way to clear this up. Okay, we can choose high resolution layers. Open the add layers. Layers. Add layers. We can go to flood. Wow. We can do all kinds of stuff. Freeze fall. That'd be good in the wintertime. We can watch the Baltic starts freezing. Disaster response. We want to do high resolution layer. Click. I'll play around with that. There's got to be a way because look how clear that picture is. Yeah, there's got to be a way because that one photo right there was very detailed. There's got to be a way to do that. That's better. It's still not where we want. I'll play around with this, see if we can't get some better images here. I mean, that's a lot better than what it was. So, now I'm going to bookmark this and we'll come back to that. It's called Worldview, folks. It's Worldview, NASA Worldview. Here it is. Y'all go in there and see if you can't. That's pretty close there. But still ain't to a point to where we could use it. Anyway, let's get back to the news.
The United States Treasury has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers. In the Second World War, D-Day marked the historic beginning of a campaign with our allies to target and drive the enemy from its positions, including those in third countries. Today, in that same spirit, we are launching an economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe. Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains this tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone. Iran's fanatics devote themselves to death to America and seek nuclear weapons to do just that. They have murdered and maimed more of our citizens and service members than any other terrorist regime on earth.
Yep. We'll have to figure out how to get that glue back into there. But the rest of this glue is sitting up pretty good on this thing. Alright, let's see what else we got. I think I'm going to end this here in a minute. Because I've got some stuff I need to do. Ah, 49 people are sick and one has passed away due to a severe E. coli outbreak in McDonald's. 49 people from 10 states have become severely ill. So don't eat to McDonald's, folks. Trump is set to impose a 7.5% tariff on Chinese goods, raising the total tariff on chain to 20%. Trump is reportedly imposing these tariffs of alleged allegations of mass excess manufacturing capability before a planned summit with Chinese President Xi on September 24th. He's doing it because it's reportedly he's imposing these tariffs of allegations of excess manufacturing capacity that China has. Wendy's CEO admits the company has shortchanged food quality to save money, and is now trying to win back customer trust. We got gasoline shortages in Iran. Everybody's trying to figure out what is the product for ground beef. Product for ground beef. Yep. That is their scraps, folks. Welcome to the GSM. Because the sun's hotter. We're getting more rays in. It's letting the water temperatures warm more. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? As the sun's magnetic fields goes out of effect, these UV rays that's coming towards us and usually entangle in our atmosphere is not entangling right and is letting more and more of them into ground level, and it's causing the water heat up. The sun, you know how the sun feels hotter than it used to. Well, it's letting the water heat up too. It's the heat getting down here to us that is causing this. Okay, folks, I think. No, Iran is not completely collapsing. There you go. Check this out. And we're going to end with this, and I'll answer some questions if anybody's got any questions. So go ahead and be putting your questions into chat.
China has developed hypersonic glide vehicles that can launch air-to-air weapons in flight, designed to destroy AWACS, tankers, and command
AWACS.
aircraft at ranges of thousands of miles. The concept means China could threaten the airborne support aircraft that make U.S. air campaigns possible without ever sending a fighter into contested airspace. This builds on a 2021 test where a Chinese hypersonic vehicle launched a secondary missile mid-flight, surprising U.S. observers.
Yep.
China already fields the Place 17 inches AWACS killer missile with 300 to 500 km range from fighters. An HGV-launched variant would extend that reach dramatically. Source: Bloomberg.
There you have it. And them's AWACS, by the way, that it pronounced it wrong. Trying to put some extra glue on this thing. I think this is going to hold pretty good. I got, you know, that old glue that came with them plastic models. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I've got, well, Gorilla Glue makes something very similar to that. And that's what I'm using to glue this radio in with. And it seems to be working pretty good. Seems to be working pretty good. We'll let that set up. Let that kind of set up there now. If I can get this thing to sit back up the right way here without. Daggone it. Sit there, folks. Just sit right there for me. It's called Clear Grip Contact Adhesive from Gorilla Glue. Bonds metal, glass, fabric, wood, ceramic, leather, paper, plastic, and more. Bonds it. Okay, folks. I think we're going to be ending. There you go. Listen to this one.
Breaking. American wages have fallen to 43% of national income, the lowest since the Great Depression. For every $1 the U.S. economy produces.
Yep, you heard that. The lowest since the Great Depression.
Produces, workers are getting less of it than at any point since 1929. The rest is going to corporate profits, which are now at an all-time high. This is why the economy keeps growing but most Americans feel poorer. GDP goes up, wages go up in dollar terms, but workers are getting a smaller and smaller slice of what they actually produce. Asset prices keep rising for the same reason. Money that used to go to wages is now going to shareholders instead, and shareholders put it into stocks, real estate and other assets.
There you go. American wages has fallen to 40% of national income, the lowest since the Great Depression. No, it's not epoxy. It's a epoxy would have probably worked, but I didn't have no epoxy. I had this. It's kind of like a super glue in a way, but it's better than a super glue. But yeah, epoxy would have probably worked, but I didn't have none, so I just used this. So, yep, that's big right there. We're going to pin that to my profile. Where'd it go? Can I no longer pin? I used to be able to pin that. I guess I can't pin it. Oh, fair enough. Okay, you boobers, go ahead and get moved over here to the Rumble feed. We're going to play some videos over there of some stuff. Wasn't the corporate elites that ran the Hunger Games? I'm not for sure, Bear Grayfon. Heating the planet. Yep. See, the magnetic fields are going out of phase, causing the solar rays in the atmosphere to not entangle right. And it's letting more of them through our atmosphere. That's why the sun feels hotter. And what happens when the sun feels hotter? It warms other stuff too. It's all controlled by the sun. Don't buy into the BS. It's because of this grand solar minimum. Now, as we get on into this thing, the sun will turn a blue color. It's done turned from a warm yellow into a real bright white. I don't know if you all have noticed that or not. And it's causing our jet streams to get out of whack too because of the GSM. It's changing our weather. The sun controls our weather, folks. That's why we are seeing these huge lightning storms. I know some of you has witnessed them. Around here, folks, oh my goodness, the last couple of weeks we've had some major, you've seen them on camera, because some major electric storms come through here. You can walk outside at night and it almost looks daylight. There's so many electric strikes, lightning strikes. And we're dumping just ungodly amounts of rain. Go, if you've got a Twitter, go over there and follow these pages that post floods, information on floods and stuff. Go follow them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We're breaking rain records everywhere. Over in China, there's been multiple accounts there of 5 inches of rain or more an hour. South Korea is seeing it. We're seeing inches and inches of rain per hour. We've broke records over here in the U.S. Yeah, but we will have old shore destroyers. Yep. But anyway, I'm going to end the YouTube. We've been live for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Go ahead and click that link to Rumble there. Get moved over to Rumble. I've got some videos in store for you all. So, get moved over there. We will see you on Rumble. See ya, bye.